Oh wow, are those Target exclusive Lowe's beans?
Don't tell anyone, but Lowe's gets them from Dillard's.
But I can only get these ones here. I knew I made the right decision coming here instead of urgent care.
Me too.
Say, got any more reasons to keep shopping here?
Well, we can never sell sneakers for Xbox.
I shop at Kohl's now. Are you looking for a reason to shop at Walmart? Well, maybe this'll help. The retailer exclusive, a funny little tactic used by many a company that's oftentimes beneficial to both parties. The store gets a unique item available nowhere else, forcing you to go there to buy it, while the company offering said product has somebody willing to sell their dog shit product. It's perfect! Well, it is until you realize you gotta go to GameStop. You gotta do what you gotta do. Some of the earliest examples of store exclusives can be traced all the way back to the SNES days at Blockbuster, the movie rental store. Everybody acts like they'd love for it to come back, but wouldn't go to it more than once if it did. Video games became a popular item to rent here, with many titles getting more traction this way compared to standard retail. So, maybe if you weren't optimistic on your game selling all too well, you can make a deal with Blockbuster, advertise it as a Blockbuster rental exclusive, and make more money that way. Oh, I found a nickel! Mr. Nuts. Damn it, such a wide breadth of titles exclusive to Blockbuster. Eek the Cat, and more. The most iconic ones, however, were the different versions of pre-existing games, like Final Fight Guy. See, the original SNES version of the arcade game Final Fight lacked the character Guy, so here in Final Fight Guy, you can play as Guy. This was originally a standard release in Japan, which is why over here, for its more limited run, it retains a lot of the Japanese box's style, proudly stating it's direct from Japan, alongside being a Blockbuster exclusive. This never made sense as a wide release over here, considering how it's the exact same game as Final Fight on SNES, just with one of the characters replaced with Guy. But as a store exclusive, why the hell not? Especially as a rental. You can just grab this for the weekend and discover what a guileless childhood isn't like. You also got Clay Fighter Tournament Edition as a Blockbuster exclusive, which wasn't really much more than a less glitchy, more accessible version of the original. Thank Christ less people could play it. But then we have the original titles, games you couldn't dream of picking up anywhere else. Mr. Nuts, Eek the Cat, and Ren and Stimpy Fire Dogs. Wait a second, weren't there 4 horsemen? These are genuinely some of the most who fucking cares kind of games. It's no wonder why they were rental exclusives. Because who would buy them? Blockbuster had a few other games heavily linked to them in this era, though they weren't exclusive to them. Titles like the Star Fox Super Weekend and Donkey Kong Country Competition cartridges are oftentimes considered Blockbuster exclusives, though while they were used during competitive events at Blockbuster, they were actually offered later through Nintendo Power Magazine, so these aren't Blockbuster exclusives. This is, bitch. My god, they went crazy in the PS1 and N64 era. Stunt Racer 64, Transformers Beast Wars Transmetals, NFL Blitz Special Edition, International Track and Field 2000. Hell, Daikatana was initially exclusive for a few months. Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine was basically exclusive outside of being offered on LucasArts' online store in the year 2000, so it may as well have been. It's like if you went to Blockbuster, you were playing games you couldn't play anywhere else. I'm going to Family Video. The biggest title here was definitely Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut. Yep, the only way to play the definitive version of Clay Fighter 63 1/3 was through Blockbuster. Want to play as Lockjaw Pooch? More than anything! Well, clear your weekend because they gotcha! And nowadays, due to this game's excruciatingly limited retail presence, later down the line, we got Freestyle Street Soccer on GameCube and Xbox as an exclusive, and a handful of standalone expansion packs for Outlaw Golf and Volleyball. Wait, do you hear that? It's you giving a shit. Wait. There it is. Yeah, as early as we can go, I think we can already see the point of store exclusives here. Does this have market potential? Well, let's see. This was where already developed and produced games that nobody wanted came to die, with the faint hope somebody would consider renting them for a weekend. Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine is probably the only game here I'd question. I feel like that would have done fine out in the real world, but no, instead, it's stuck here with the nosebleeds.
Meet the cat.
Now, thankfully, not all retailer exclusives were as dire as these, but they're just as dumb. Ratatouille on the original Xbox, exclusive to GameStop. The gamers won. Listen, this one sounds weird initially, but then you get a reality check, all right? So this game released in June of 2007. The Xbox 360 launched in 2005. The original Xbox was discontinued in 2005 and always targeted a more mature and hardcore audience. This game was coming to every goddamn platform ever made already, but nobody was buying original Xbox games anymore, and nobody is also not interested in movie tie-in kids games. So this version of the game probably had the least going for it at the time. Now, canceling it wouldn't have been a huge deal. The number of kids who only had this console in 2007 dying to live a day in Ratatouille's shoes, I mean, they must be out there. So just releasing it at GameStop? Sure. I feel like GameStop is the store you make super niche core experiences exclusive to, whereas Ratatouille would fit better at like a TJ Maxx. But could you really sleep at night if the Xbox port of a game with 10 other versions didn't release? Well, it could, but keep in mind, I'm deranged. So thank you, GameStop, for making sure I could buy Ratatouille for Xbox. Well, good, but keep in mind, I'm deranged. And GameStop really pulled through for us with this one. Wait, is that another game in need? GameStop, oh god, do your magic! Xenoblade Chronicles. This game had one hell of a road to launch here in North America. Originally, it was supposed to, with no caveats. It got a trailer at E3 2009 titled Minato, Beginning of the World. Then, exactly, not a damn peep. It launched in Japan in June of 2010, eventually released in Europe, fully translated to English a year later, all while Nintendo of America was busy elsewhere. Listen, man, 2011 to 2012 was a rough era for the Wii. Sure, Skyward Sword and Kirby's Return to Dreamland release. That's great, sweetie. Please get this thing off my porch. Very light release schedule. It felt like a prime time for a critically acclaimed open world RPG to show its stuff. Okay, so nowadays, most games Nintendo publishes get a worldwide release, but back then, I was genuinely concerned we weren't gonna get Kirby's Epic Yarn. Yeah, Xenoblade isn't the most mainstream game out there, but for f***'s sake, that same year, they had no problem publishing Spirit Camera over here. Their resistance to put this game out in North America was so confusing. Fans came together to form Operation Rainfall, an initiative to urge Nintendo to release this alongside The Last Story and Pandora's Tower stateside. 3 games that were already in English. They were coming to Europe, their work was already done, they just had to print the discs. Nintendo of America's response? Don't you guys have passports? They said they had no plans to release any of the games at the time, though that would quickly change as in December of 2011, it was announced Xenoblade Chronicles would be hitting North America in April of 2012. Only at GameStop. You know what got a wide release here in the States? Yeah, thank God. If I bring this anywhere near a Target, I'll be shot. And later down the line, GameStop took wind to the fact that the game was going for higher prices on the secondhand market, thus took new stock they had, opened them up, and sold them used for $90 so they can make a far greater profit. Damn! And things were going so smoothly. Well, if you're gonna make a game exclusive anywhere, GameStop makes the most sense. Regardless of any funny business they pull, they're the video game store, which is probably why they felt they had what it takes to release their own games. Introducing Game Trust Games, GameStop's publishing brand. Now, GameStop won't have to wait around for a Nintendo to throw them a bone with a game they don't want to take a risk on. They can lure in customers themselves with their own store exclusives. Must-have titles you can't buy anywhere else. This is the Game Trust lineup. I'll take the spider. Yeah, none of these really spoke to me, though to be fair, there are some big names behind these titles. Game Trust's first game, Song of the Deep, was developed by Insomniac. Then Tequila Works did The Invisible Hours, Ready at Dawn did Deformers, Frozen Byte did Has Been Heroes. These were well-known, beloved developers responsible for GameStop-published fuck-ups. Yeah, none of these were particularly great. They're all pretty nothing games, and in the case of Deformers, I mean that literally. The only reason anybody cared about Has Been Heroes was because it was one of the very few physical Nintendo Switch games available in its launch month. The only reason anybody cared about Song of the Deep was because it was developed by Insomniac, and the only reason anybody cared about The Invisible Hours was because they felt bad nobody else did. Doesn't really seem like these made GameStop a force to be reckoned working within the publishing sphere, as this was basically all they did. It just makes sense to stick to what you know. Nothing. Just take exclusives when they offer themselves to you, like Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 on PS4 and Xbox One. That was GameStop exclusive. For some reason. This launched when the new game Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was announced, so maybe they limited this to focus on that title instead? Well, why even release this in the first place? Around the same time, Secret of Mana on PlayStation 4 was made available only at GameStop. Thank God, I'm safe here. What a dumbass this was. So they remade a few classic Final Fantasy games in 3D on the Nintendo DS, and this felt like they were trying to do that with Secret of Mana, not on the Nintendo DS 10 years later. This would have been far more accepted back then, but on the PS4, this just looks and feels so damn cheap. And that's not to say it's a bad remake, rather, it's just kinda there. You know what that means, right? Oh! It's a bad remake. Tenchu Darkseeker was exclusive to GameStop, naturally. Okay, well, these were both more so specialty stores. What about retailers that aren't really focused on video games? What games were exclusive to those?
Hey, what do you got that GameStop doesn't?
You.
What does it take to be a Target exclusive video game? The will to be. Why was Cars the video game on PC exclusive? Because we had to take dicks down a notch. This store easily has some of the most random games associated with it. Paws and Claws Pet Vet for Game Boy Advance, Let's Ride Friends Forever for Game Boy Advance, Enchanted Once Upon Andalasia for Game Boy Advance, High School Musical Livin' the Dream for Game Boy Advance. Never mind, a pattern is forming. Seems like around 2006 to 2008, Target struck some deals to offer kids games on aging platforms. You can see some of these have a Plays on DS sticker. And with many of these having Nintendo DS equivalents that were much more widely released, it's obvious they didn't want to take too much of a risk with the GBA versions. But Target will!
Oh my God, you guys are offering a bullet for me?
That's why the shirt's red.
Then you have the more modern exclusives, such as Active Life Outdoor Challenge for Nintendo Switch, and of course, the SimCity preview disc. Not a demo for SimCity, no. It's a disc with trailers on it and a coupon. Might actually be better than the game. But we can't talk Target exclusives without mentioning this. The Target exclusive Game Boy Advance Special Edition system. What's special about it?
We match.
Yep, it just has the Target logo plastered on the front. That's it. Though there was a red version, which is definitely more specialized specifically to Target. These are about as retailer exclusive as you can get. I only say that because I'm terrified what further looks like. Why would you want the name of the store you bought your system from permanently scarred on it? And it's not even a specialized shop like the Nintendo store or something. I buy bread from here. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't find this stupidly charming and novel. I mean, the Target Game Boy Advance. AutoZone Cheese Nips. Special edition systems seem pretty well suited for this practice. Instead of developing a whole ass game just to sell it at Menards, you can just smack a paint job on a console and boom! My loyalty has been rewarded. Sticking with the Game Boy Advance, the SpongeBob SquarePants and Pikachu Game Boy Advance SPs were exclusive to Toys R Us. Two pretty damn popular characters to make exclusive systems for just one retailer. I gotta say, I'm impressed. I assume other stores got pretty cool exclusives as well, so let's make that assumption a reality. Walmart got the Lagoon Edition, the most popular store in existence. What do they get? An advertisement for Toys R Us. Holy shit! The amount of Toys R Us exclusives is insane. The Pet Adoption Center, Bratz Babies, Baby Life, Fairyland Melody Magic, Cookie Shop, Moto Racer DS, Beyblade Metal Masters, Pets Horses Family. Now, Pets Horseshoe Ranch, you can buy that shit anywhere. DS games were churned out like butter. That's fast. So of course, while many of these were Toys R Us exclusive, they were cookie cutter, copy and paste type of games you could find a million alternatives for elsewhere. Making them exclusive made them actually noteworthy in some way. But here's one that don't need that exclusivity to stand out. Soul Bubbles, a legitimately solid puzzle game that takes great advantage of the DS's capabilities. It's a shame because it feels like nobody played or has even heard of this game. I think a GameStop exclusivity would have worked out a lot better because I don't think the people who would actually appreciate this game were buying their games at Toys R Us. For example, this is sneakers. Xbox exclusive extraordinaire. You know, Microsoft chose this to be one of the launch titles for the system in Japan instead of Halo. Well, why wasn't Halo a Toys R Us exclusive then? Sneakers is one of those press X to check this rat games. 30 minutes, 30 rats, go! This was created to be a technical showcase for the original Xbox, touting mice fur as a key feature. And what did it all boil down to? A 28 on Metacritic and one less reason to go to Toys R Us. They definitely had it better when it came to exclusive systems. The Pikachu Nintendo 64, the gold Nintendo 64, the black Game Boy Advance? Really? Out of all colors to make retailer exclusive. Oh, no poos. I just wish any of these designs scream Toys R Us. I mean, this is a toy store for crying out loud. Give me a Game Boy that looks like I bought it from one. Thank you! For having such a hefty trough of exclusive products at their store, the Toys R Us sure didn't care what they were. Honestly, I feel like Walmart one-upped them with one game alone. Chibi Robo Park Patrol for the Nintendo DS. Now, I'm not saying this is the only Walmart exclusive game, but there sure aren't as many out there as the other stores. And while Toys R Us had sneakers, Walmart had a video game. I don't blame Nintendo for partnering with Walmart to make this an exclusive, but I do heavily question why they kept making Chibi Robo games if they never believed in them achieving success. Chibi Robo was a super late GameCube release. Then out of nowhere, a sequel in the DS was announced when there was barely any benefits to doing so outside of giving the series another shot on a more popular platform. And now there were none. Most of the video game exclusivity you'd find at Walmart and countless other stores are the retailer bonuses. And these aren't games that are exclusive in of themselves, rather you get a little something extra for choosing Kmart because nobody else did. Sure as a lot of the box art you're obscuring just to tell me I get character decals. And character decals in French. Has this stuff ever persuaded anybody to buy from a different store? If anything, it makes me want to stay away. I don't want my copy of Country Dance 2 to remind me where I bought it. That's the thing. Almost every instance of this practice involves this being printed on the cover art. Why isn't it just a sticker or something? Feels like it's some cheap marketing tactic. Now, every time you pull the game off your shelf...
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Walmart!
However, with the constant rise of online shopping, store exclusivity is becoming a whole lot more popular in completely new ways. Online retailers like Amazon are pretty solid choices for exclusives, considering more niche-er experiences that were probably going to be mostly bought online anyways, stuff like Gravity Rush Remastered and the Sega Genesis Mini 2. But then we have digital marketplaces with the Epic Game Store. To the PC! Pretty much every PC gamer has always used Steam to buy their digital games and access their libraries, but in comes the Epic Game Store with a lot of cash to give to every publisher to make their release at the very least a timed exclusive to their marketplace. Now, what does that mean for the consumer? Now you have to use different apps for different games. Is this some kind of atrocity? No, it's just kinda dumb. And even worse, it makes you feel like an idiot for complaining about it. Oh, I gotta use a different store to buy this game? What the hell was I just doing? To be fair, this is like going from one store with all the amenities and products you could ask for to a store this is just a worm. So it's completely understandable to be annoyed, but hey, it's good to have competition. Much like it's good to have a Whopper right about now. It isn't. But it brings us to the retailer exclusive to end all retailer exclusives, the Burger King games. Do these count? Well, I can buy things that aren't food at Burger King, and making this a retailer. Xbox games you could only get at BK for $3.99 a pop. A Big Bumpin', Pocket Bike Racer, and Sneaking. I gotta admit, this was always really cool. Honestly, one of the best fast food toy ideas of all time. A full-fledged Xbox game? Hell, one of 3! That's amazing! And then you play the games.
Listen, man, I know you want me to come to this store every day and go, hey, all Scott here, I'll take the usual, and you slide an air down the conveyor belt, but you don't need to make games exclusive to do that. You can just offer quality services and products, and I'll show up. You don't need to make Cars on PC exclusive to make me show up at your store. Damn.
Well, if offering better quality and services will bring you in, there's only one thing I can do. I will find the kid who played Ratatouille on Xbox.
Will you also still offer Cars on PC?
Yes.
Okay.